Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling strangely hopeful even though nothing actually changed? Maybe they promised they'd be better. Maybe they said you were the only person who really understood them. Maybe they admitted they were messed up and suddenly you felt like you needed to comfort them. If that sounds familiar, you might not have been hearing honesty, you might have been hearing manipulation. Over the course of documenting conversations as a result of a toxic relationship that I was in over the course of 2022 to 2025, I started noticing something strange. The same types of phrases kept showing up again and again. Different words, same structure. Different moments, same emotional hook. Eventually, I realized I was looking at a pattern. So I built something I called a manipulation decoder ring, even though it's not technically a ring. But it's a way to translate what these phrases sound like into what they often actually mean. Let's walk through a few of the most common ones. Number 1, future faking, or the hope dangle, as I like to call it. This one sounds like, I'll make you fall in love with me again. This time it'll be real. I know I can change. On the surface, these sound like commitment, but what they really mean is, I want you to stay emotionally invested in the idea of a future with me without me having to prove anything right now. This is dangerous because it locks you into waiting. You are no longer evaluating what they're doing today. You're holding out hope for what they might become someday. Number 2, the specialness hook. This one sounds incredibly flattering. You're different. You're the only person who really understands me. No one has ever seen through me the way that you do. It feels validating because it confirms something you already sense, that you saw through them in ways others didn't. But the hidden translation is often, you're special enough to tolerate behavior that other people wouldn't. It turns your empathy and insight into the very reason you should stay. Number 3, minimization disguised as accountability. This one is tricky because it almost sounds like honesty. It's so ingrained in me, I don't even think about it. I'm just messed up in the head. I'm lazy and broken. You're the only one that can help me. It sounds like they're admitting fault, but the translation is usually, I want to acknowledge the problem just enough to keep you from leaving, but not enough to take responsibility for actually fixing anything. Instead of you holding them accountable, you end up comforting them. Number 4, breadcrumb remorse. This one shows up as small pieces of guilt. I've been feeling really ashamed lately. I know I hurt you. I feel bad about what I did. These moments feel meaningful because remorse is something victims often wait a long time to hear. But breadcrumb remorse usually means I'll give you just enough guilt to keep the hope alive without committing to consistent change. So you stay in a loop of maybe this time. Number 5, control disguised as love. Sometimes control gets dressed up in vulnerability. I didn't want your dreams to take you away from me. You being happy felt threatening. It sounds emotional, even romantic, although very distortedly so. But the real message is often, your independence feels dangerous because it weakens my control over you. Healthy love supports growth. Control fears it. Number 6, love bombing after conflict. This is the validation flood. You're incredible. I believe in your calling. You deserve to be happy. These statements might even be true, but in toxic dynamics, they often appear right after conflict or mistreatment. The translation becomes, I'm going to overwhelm you with praise, so the emotional reset happens faster, and suddenly the anger you felt starts to dissolve. Number 7, last word, control. This one is subtle, but powerful. I'll call you later. We'll talk after this. Let's revisit this soon. On the surface, it sounds like they're keeping communication open, but the underlying message is, I control the timing of connection. You stay mentally waiting for the next conversation while they dictate the rhythm of the relationship. So what do you do with this information? You don't necessarily need to argue, debate, or explain anything. The most powerful shift is simply recognition, because once you see it, you absolutely cannot unsee it. Hear the phrase, name the tactics silently, and instead of reacting emotionally, stay grounded in what the pattern tells you, because manipulation thrives in confusion. But once you translate the language, the spell begins to break.